All right, today we're going to subtract with integers. Like when we added with our negative numbers, we subtract. When we subtract with negative numbers, we can use a number line or counters to help us. When we subtract two positive numbers, we start with our first number on the number line and then take away our second number. This could become a negative. So we're pretty used to something like 5 minus 2. On our number line, we could start at 5, and then because we're subtracting, we're taking away, we're going to the left. We take away 2, go over 2 spots, and you get 3. Then with counters, to show what we're doing, last week we said yellow was positive and red was negative, so we start with 5 positive and 2 positive because both our numbers here are positive. Then we subtract. When we subtract, our second number becomes the inverse, which would be the opposite, which is negative, and then we can add, so we can combine our counters. A positive and a negative cancel out, and that leaves us with 3. So our answer here is 3. But I did say subtracting two positive numbers could get a negative answer. So what if we had 4 minus 8? On our number line, we'd start at 4, and we're taking away 8, so we're going to the left 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots. And that ends us on negative 4. Or if we were using our counters, we start with 4 positives. We're taking away 5, 6, 7, 8 positives. Since we're taking away, these become their inverse, which makes them negative, and then we'll add the counters. And after we've combined our negatives and positives, we're left with 4 negatives, or negative 4. We could have a negative minus a positive. So for example, negative 3 minus 1. We would start on our number line on our negative 3. Then we're taking away 1, so we're going to the left 1. And we wind up with negative 4. Or using our counters, we start with 3 red, negative 3. Then it's 1 positive, but we're subtracting. And to combine counters, we need to be adding, so we'll turn this into its inverse. And we're left with negative 4. We could also have negative 2 minus 4. We'd start on our negative 2 and go over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And end on negative 6. One way you can think about a negative minus a positive, which is kind of how we showed with our counters. This problem, negative 2 minus 4, is the same as negative 2 plus negative 4. Both of these get us negative 6. We can also have a positive minus a negative. For example, 1 minus negative 4. We would start with our 1 just like before, and then when we were adding negative numbers, we would go to the left when our second number was negative. And when we're subtracting, we also go to the left. We can't go even more left, so going left and then going left again actually flips us going back the other direction. So we wind up going to the right when we have a minus and negative. You can also think about that as the minus negative cancels out the negative signs to become a plus plus or just a positive. Minus means we're doing the inverse of what follows, and the inverse of what follows, inverse of negative 4 is positive 4. So this turns into 1 plus 4. We'll start on 1 and then add 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we end on 5. Or with our counters, we start with positive 1 and negative 4. And this was a subtraction problem. But to combine counters, we need to have an addition. So we find the inverse of our second number, which becomes positive. Then we combine our counters and have 5. Let's do another one like that. We had 2 minus negative 3. We'd start on our 2. The minus negative cancels out. This turns into 2 plus 3 over 1, 2, 3 to the right, and we get 5. Or with our counters, 2 yellow and 2 red to start, and it's subtracting. We need it to be adding, so we flip everything, and then we get 5. So the last scenario we could have is a negative minus a negative. And these could have positive or negative answers. We had negative 3 minus negative 4. Just like before, that minus and negative is going to cancel out. We start on negative 3. We can't go double to the left. So we need to cancel those out. And this becomes negative 3 plus 4. Adding 4 to negative 3, 2, 3, 4, we get 1. Or with our counters, negative 3, and then negative 4. It's a subtraction problem. To combine our counters, we need to add and flip. Then we remove our matching pairs, and we're left with 1. And then we could get a negative answer. So if our first number's absolute value is smaller than our second number in this scenario, then we get a positive. But if our first number has a bigger absolute value, then we would get a negative. So negative 5 minus negative 4 minus negative cancels out. This turns into negative 5 plus 4. We start on negative 5 and add 4 to that. 1, 2, 3, 4. We get negative 1. Or if we use our counters, -5 minus -4. We want to add so that we can combine. Then we remove our pairs. And we're left with -1. That's all I've got on subtracting with negative numbers today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.